Hey, what's going on, guys? Alright, so today we're going to do some work on the Kaiju. I wasn't really planning on doing this as quickly as I'm about to, but I took this thing out for a second run after my first run the other day, and I was showing it to a buddy of mine. I wasn't planning on filming. It was just kind of showing it off and trying to tell him he should get one, and ended up breaking it. Got a one minor break, and then I think what the other one is probably just a pinion gear slipped off. So of course we were doing standing back flips, which brought most of the problem. So the standing back flips do not like to be banged off the bumper. Plus, like I said, I landed on this bumper. I know it didn't come out on video because I didn't have the head cam on, but took a bunch of nosedives the other day. I never did check this. Of course, I cleaned it all out, washed it all off. I remember looking at the bumper after it happened. The first one I did, and actually the last one I did too. I checked it, so it didn't. I don't think it happened there. I think it happened when we were doing the backflips and things. But it came down from a couple of standing back flips in a row. We did like 2 or 3 in a row, and all of a sudden it was like, bzz, 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 we just pulled the trigger and you could hear the motor going, but nothing was happening. So I'm thinking I just slipped off here. So we're going to check that out. In the process, we're going to get to it. I've never done this, so we're going to do it on camera, and I'll try to find the easiest way to get to it. I probably will take stuff like this off as well. So one of my biggest pet peeves about this truck has absolutely nothing to do with driving it, is it just gets dirty, man. It's hard to get. It's got so many little contoured areas that it's very hard to clean. You got this little ridge down here. It's just pain in the ass. So I like keeping my trucks clean. For the most part, all the ones that I have up are pretty clean. But that's just me. They get dirty. I don't usually take them out and get them as muddy as I did this first run. But it happens, and when it does, I like to clean it, and it just doesn't clean up as well as I would like. But again, it has nothing to do with the truck itself. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on this. We're going to work on the rear axis mainly, because I think what I'm going to do with this, since this piece is still intact here, I think I'm going to put a little super glue on the inside part here where this split. Put it back together and clamp it back down under there, because it just pulled out. So it's no big deal to me. I'm not going to waste a bumper on that just yet. I do have a bumper for it, but I'm not worried about that right now. I am worried about finding out about the rear. So we're going to show the access, see how quick it is to get to it, and I'll probably do the oils and things while I'm in there. If I have to take off too much, I might do the front and rear as well. But like I said, this was something I really wasn't even planning on doing yet. But since I am getting it open, we are going to do the oils in the center. But alright, guys, stay tuned, and I'll probably fast forward through most of this, and I'll address anything that seems pretty hard or something that needs to be talked about. I'll try to stop and talk about it. Alright, got the wheels off because those things are just filth right now, and I want to get them cleaned up as well. But really, just so I'm not restricted here in any way, I am going to try to take the battery tray off. It looks like it's only 3, 1, 2, and 3. Just so, again, I want to have nice open access real quick. Let's see if that's all it is. Alright, so that wasn't a tray like I thought, like a tray. It was these ends plugged in, which I'll take off and clean off anyway, and it still gives me a little bit better access down there. But yeah, I was thinking that whole thing would lift down and give me a little more room. But alright, so you can or can't mess with that if you don't want. So we're going to take this one out first, just to kind of see if that kind of lifts off and just lets us see in there. Well, it definitely didn't slip off. Alright, that comes right off. That's nice. Alright. Let's see what we got here. Oh, I think the grub just came loose. Alright, so I think I could fix this right now and put it back together, but I think I'm going to go ahead with what I came here to do on this video, just because I was going to get to the center diff anyway. I mean, I'm already here. I'm already kind of mindset ready to take this truck apart. So although it is just my pinion slipping, I think I am going to take it off, put some thread lock on the pinion or the grub, check the pinion on it, as far as what tooth count it is exactly, because I was told, but I lost the thing where I wrote it down at, and I don't remember. But we'll figure it out. And I wanted to upgear it, so I was going to go up 2 teeth, even though it's still a little early with the truck for me, but I think it's going to be fine for 2 teeth. Plus, it'll give me about a 60 some, almost 70 mile an hour truck, and I wouldn't mind having that, and I'd probably be set and happy with that. So also I'll be able to test it for people and tell you if the ESC can handle it. So if the ESC can handle the 2 teeth up gear and this truck at 70 miles an hour almost, then I'll let you guys know that as well. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna tear this out real quick. As far as the need to repair, I really don't need to. I can fix this right now, so I'm not gonna. It's not as bad as I thought it was gonna be. Like, this is literally a 2-second fix. Very easy access to diff and tighten it, but you really can't change anything. You wouldn't be able to access this little cover and change it. So we're gonna figure out the access for the rear, and we're gonna take all this off. Take the motor off. I'll probably just disconnect the motor wires real quick, and see what we're looking at. So we'll quick go back to what we were doing and show the access. So it looks like there is 1 screw into this motor mount here that I can clearly see, and then this top one, I'm sure there's something else down the bottom. It looks like the one is accessed here, but I might have to take this skid off, which is 6 screws and a lot of mud, to access it. We'll take it off anyway, just so I can see it. I want to take a look at it anyway, so let's get this off. Might have to take the rear off. It might be, this might lay under that, but this thing is not coming off yet. So, alright, so that piece is off, and that piece does. It goes completely under there, and that mounts like that. So, yeah, it has to come off. So, all 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 screws. Get a chance to clean her up a little bit at least. So OCD, we got clean parts. I'm just cleaning it as I go, guys. Sorry. I'll edit and take all that out of there, but yeah, I can't. It's killing me. Anyway, so we have the access. We're looking right at it here. This is the spur gear. I still am not seeing how this center access is going to go, but we're going to flip it back over. It looks like there's no screws down here with the exception of this one. So we're going to take this screw out and then take that top screw out and see what that leaves us with. Alright, so it looks like there's another screw right here. It's got to come out. Finally, got that damn thing out. Man, pain in the ass. Alright, well, that was it. So now the motor's out. Yep, just slipped off. So, alright. Let's see what we got here. So it's a 10 tooth. So I would need to go 12 if I was going to upgrade this. Man, what do you know? I had a 12. That's shocking to me. I don't ever get that lucky. Alright, wow, alright. This is... Now, okay, so we didn't have to probably remove that one. This whole plate comes out now. I'll probably clean this while I got it out. I'm going to pull the manual and see if they tell us anything about this. They usually don't, which really pisses me off. But this would be trial and error. Alright, so I'm actually on hold with Redcat right now. I got my rep checking about how to mesh the pinion. So what I was looking at real quick in the meantime, like I said, because my time is limited, I'm going to take this off right here. I think this is the access we need to get to the spur. It's just like a cover, a little cover. There it is. Now I guess this piece crosses here and holds that down. No, not so easy because it's attached to that diff pinion. So, alright, that's kind of a pain in the ass. Alright, so we're actually trying to figure out how to get this completely out. I think this should just come out and over. But, I think we're going to have to drop this rear. My rep's looking at it too, and he's going to try to help me through it. But I think I'm going to go ahead and get started taking these two off. I think it's these two maybe, and at least these two, but we'll see. Yeah, those look like they just attached to the bucket.
The chassis.
Right.
Yeah, the two large ones, the 2.5s that are in there.
Yep.
Those, I would say the four that are in
The tower.
the tower, and then I bet there's two more in the bottom under the skid plate.
Well, I'm under the skid plate right now. I don't see anything under there anymore that I haven't already taken out.
Okay, so yeah, probably those 6, and you should be able to get it off.
All right, so I want to talk, I was talking to my rep about the motor placement holes, and I'll go over that when I go to put it back on, what needs to be done for the gear meshing and things, which was my main concern. But while I had him on the phone, I was asking him about how to get this off. So we started saying taking the plates off. So 2 screws loosens it a little bit, but not enough to fully get it off. So what we need to do probably, and I'm not going to try to take them all the way out right now, just because I really just want to get the diff out. But we got 4 screws here, 6. This going into the top though, so I'm not going to mess with that yet. So actually, while we're looking at it, it looks like the 2 screws just having the bottom skid off here. The 2 screws there will release the rear diff access, which makes for very easy access to the rear diff. Just a pain in the ass to get that cover off. So that's all I think I had to do with that, is just them 2 screws. And the bottom skid had to come off. So the 2 on the bottom skid in the front. And this. That's it. So we are going to probably change the rear oil while we have it open too. Still don't have my diff access yet. So the diff pinion comes off. So that just goes onto the end of that shaft. So that comes off. My diff just fell out. My shim came off, so I'm going to put this back on the right end. And just remember that it's on the casing side. Just so when I put it back on, all is in the same spot. So we're going to go ahead and, it's very, very easy to move that. So we're going to change that a little bit. So when we do ride wheelies and things, that it won't have that walk as much. Anybody ever popped a wheelie, and you'll get that kind of like wobble walk. And sometimes between, you know, the single wheelie bar in the back sometimes. But mainly it's because the one that's biting has more power, and it starts to go on that power, then it rocks back to the other side, and it kind of transfers, so you get that kind of like wobble. It's really hard to ride a long wheelie, but yeah, again, you can get around it by doing it slowly or just pulling it up evenly. But regardless, putting some thicker oil in, it's going to help those 2 spin at the same rate. It's not going to do anything for the center, but the center is going to help the transfer. So we're going to go ahead and do that as well, because even though I didn't see a ton of ballooning or any problems with it right now, to be honest with you, I just know what I want to do, and since I had the access, we're going to do it. All right, having to take that off isn't the end of the world, because at least I'm able to get in here and clean all this stuff. Alright, let's flip her back over. Alright, so now... oh, there it goes. It was just wedged in there. Man. It's like a bunch of tight fit. Sealed bearings. It's nice. Good to see. It's got a good feel. Maybe that's why I didn't notice it and really have any main concerns with that. It's actually got a really good feel. Again, I'm probably going to crack it open anyway, just because I have it all off. Might as well, you know. But I'm not disappointed with the way that feels. If it's grease, I'll be happy after I'm done. I'll take it apart and clean it, and then I'll be putting my oil in it. It's fine, because grease thins out, and it'll, you know, get smoother and be, you know, much more easy to move after a little bit of work. This thing's only got 1.5 runs on it, so it's, you know, it's still fresh. Yeah, it's just grease. It looks like starting to get puttied up, but they have a good feel, but still not what I want to keep in it. Alright, so we'll go ahead and pop these gears out, get them cleaned up a little bit, and then go ahead and rebuild it with some 300 in there. All right, so these have usually you'll rebuild them. You'll have a little washer. You gotta make sure it's on the end. These actually have the little guides that slide straight down. So when you're putting these back together, just make sure the flat end's up. When you lay that down there, put it in slots. Turn these ready with the flat end down. And that's it. It's back in. Gears are cleaned off, ready to go. Ready to take some new oil. Alright, so it's all settled now. It's good enough for me. There's plenty of room on top for the diff pinion to sit down in there. Don't forget to put the gasket back on. Oh yeah. Even though it was tight before, this is what I want right here. Alright, so we're going to leave this alone, and then we're just going to put the pinion on. We're going to try to line up where it would be at to the spur. So I think what we're going to do first, before we worry about this, is we're going to put the center diff back in from the bottom and start putting that back together. Alright, this should just slide back on like this. I think since I got the most removal from screwing in the top two, or unscrewing the top two, I'm going to start there just to help me hold it together. So we'll put these two screws back in. Alright, now that it's staying together easier, much better, much better. Let's put this part back together first, just because I want to show what I believe is just those two screws that give you the rear diff access. So we'll try to put it back together and leave all but them two, see if we can get the diff and all back in, and make sure that that's the only access you would need if you were trying to get to the rear, in case you were having a mechanical problem or something. Alright guys, got the plate back on. Hold off on that again, flip it back over. What I might do, might put some of the rear screws back in, just because I'm done with that. I want to get that back together. Alright, so now we're ready to put our motor and all back on. Again, we're going to go up 2 teeth. So I do want to point out something real quick. We do have this little piece right here, which, I mean, it took me a minute to really figure out what the hell it was. It was just laying on my workbench, but I knew it came out, and I knew it was important. But if you find this and see it and don't really realize where it came from, it drops right in here to the top, which is going to be our mesh point, where we mesh the pinion for the truck. So it's right here. Now, if you're going to go put the 10 tooth back on, you just literally use the set screw here, and you bolt it up right to that, no problem, bam, bam, with the bottom piece on the here, and this one there, and then you put this piece back in. You didn't even really need to take that off. But since we are putting a bigger tooth pinion on there, this screw comes out and goes away, and now we're going to mesh it with this top screw. I can say one thing I don't like, and I'm sure I can find this, one like this, but I do like how this just has so much meshing points with the spur. As long as my mesh is good, I should be alright, but you can see it's not the same size as a spur, which just means, it can wear in one spot more than the other instead of evenly. But again, I'm going to do my best job meshing it. I'll probably center it the best I can, and then, go from there. Like I said, we'll get a couple speed runs out of it. If I get a problem with it or cause me any problems, I'll be taking 10 screws out, and more than that, plus what's on the bottom. So probably about 20 some screws out to get to the access of that again, and it's no big deal. It'll happen if we do it, but I'm going to do it anyway just because I want to see what the gearing will do for us. I think I can put the screw back in without that even on. So you probably didn't even have to take that bottom screw out to do all this, but again, I was trying to live and learn. So this just hooks down there like that, and now lays, and now that's my meshing. So let's test out this meshing. I'm just going to double check the mesh in between. You got a little bit of rock. So again, it's very hard to do this, but what I'm doing, I'm doing it by eye. I've done it so many times that I can kind of do it by eye and not have a problem. Oh, good, I can get in here. So I'm just taking this, just moving it. See how it moves just a little bit there? It's just enough to keep a nice mesh. Feels good. So we'll go ahead and tighten it all down. All right, be sure to check your mesh again after you're done, just because you want to make sure that you didn't move it when you were tightening it. I still have my little bit of rock that I can do without the pinion gear moving. Now, I got a couple things left to do myself. We got to put the cover back on. You know, this piece goes back on. Alright guys, all is back together. We did the rear access diff. We went ahead and did the center diff oil. We did the rear diff oil while we had it. You're looking at 4 screws on the bottom and 2 screws on the front for your diff access, and I imagine the front's going to be exactly the same. I don't have time to do it right now. You know, it did take a little bit longer time than I was imagining, but it should be as simple as just taking them 4 off and then taking the 2 off, because you do have the bumper in the front. Taking them two off right there. It should be just as simple as that to get to the front. And of course the 2 on the facing, which releases the diff housing. So very easy truck to work on. The center diff access is just to be able to get to that. It's a little intimidating. I mean, you got to take a lot off. It's about 20 screws you got to take off to be able to get that out in your hand. Not a big deal though. You don't have to touch the top at all. Right here, you could have left that alone unless you were planning on changing the pinion or you were having an issue with your mesh. If you would have done everything from the bottom, it would have dropped right back in and none of this would have moved. So it just depends on what reason you have to access all of this, would be what you have to take apart. So again, don't touch any of that. And if you do change out the pinion gear, you're going to have 1 extra screw, and that was the one that went in there. So that will lock it at a 10, but right now it's extra because we've got the 12 on there. So I'm excited to go out and see what this thing will get with a 12 tooth. I think we'll be 65-ish minimum. I'll put the same tires back on that I did. Same everything, just kind of test it. Hopefully the ESC holds up. It's 150. We're only going on a 12 tooth. Doesn't seem like much. You know, again, I should have counted the spur while I was on there. I don't know what the spur count is, but it's not, you know, it's not much more than with the landslide and all them were. So it's not a big deal. I don't think 12 tooth is going to matter. We'll find out. If I burn up my ESC, you know, probably try to put a little bit better one in there and then go from there. And I don't think it'll be an issue with 12, but I think getting 65 with this will be a nice touch. And if I can get 65 out of this truck, I'll probably leave it and never mess with it again. It's really, I mean, I'm happy with it with the speed it is now, 55. But you know, once I know my truck can go over 60, I'm cool especially as far as a basher goes. And that's what we're going for. So next run will be a speed run and then do the same thing. I'll probably change the tires out and get the bashing. But I appreciate you guys. If you guys have any questions, leave me a comment. If you like this video and want to see more teardowns and stuff like that, like I said, I don't know if I'm wasting people's times a lot. Some people I know don't understand all this, but like I said, if I'm not wasting your time, give me a thumbs up, you know, just so I know, and I'll keep doing videos like this as I go instead of doing it off screen late at night. You know, with a couple of beers, I'll pull out a camera and we'll try to fast forward through some of it and get the access down for somebody that might not know. But I appreciate you guys, and again, leave me comments if you have any questions. And if you're looking for a Kaiju, they'll be back in about the beginning of April, and we'll have some more. I'm sold out. There's nothing I can do about it. I've got as many of them as I could, and then some. But I ran out of time as they all bought them up. So we're left with them beginning of April. If you guys have any questions, I am taking pre-orders on them. You can call me. Deposit down. We'll guarantee you one when it comes in. So I appreciate you guys.